This lecture series features the Intro to Chemistry, Water, and pH PowerPoint Google Slide Notes for biology honors. As you begin going through the PowerPoint, you will see that it starts at the very basics of life. So if you refer to the PowerPoint on slide 2, it talks about an atom. An atom is the smallest unit of matter, and it is made up of a nucleus that features protons and neutrons. And then in the outer ring shell there is an electron. Okay, and so these three have different charges. Always remember proton, P for positive. Neutrons means neutral or no charge. And then E electrons, that it's going to be negative. Slide number 3 deals with the elements. So elements are made up of only one type of atom. Your body is made up of 96% 4 different elements, and those are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. The other 4% is made up of sulfur and phosphorus. And so here is a periodic table of elements if you aren't familiar with it, and that way you can find those elements there. When we talk about atoms, we have to talk about chemical bonds and how that they are formed by chemical bonds to make molecules. And so we know that Unit 2 or Module 2 is dealing with macromolecules, which deal with these chemistry-based molecules. And then as you take things like water, glucose, and oxygen, those are the actual molecules that are created by atoms, such as elements dealing with hydrogen and oxygen. If we were dealing with water, if you're dealing with glucose, you're going to add in some carbon. And then for oxygen, you're just using O. Whenever you look at other molecules, it's showing you how we have amino acids in our bodies, and those amino acids make up proteins, and those proteins are what is one of our macromolecules. And so that is showing you this here. Glycogen is a molecule that we use that deals with glucose, so which is going to be a carbohydrate. As we continue on, it's going to talk about bonding. All you need to know in terms of bonding is that there are 2 types, one that can be shared and one is going to be able to be arranged in order to allow your molecules to bond in terms of not sharing electrons, but either giving off or to make full valence shells. And so the one that is being transferred, so to make those full valent shells, it's called an ionic bond. The ones that are sharing are called covalent. And you can look at those examples on slides 6 and 7. As you move on to slide 8, it's going to go into the next part of this PowerPoint, which is water. And so they ask you a question on slide 8 about why is water the most important molecule to living things. And so think about what is water made up of. It's made of hydrogen. It's made up of oxygen. And those are crucial elements that we find that are part of that 96% makeup into living things. So dealing with water, it allows the structure of it to be polar, which makes water be able to attract to certain molecules. But it also has something called a hydrogen bond that allows it to be weak, and that allows that molecule to split apart and to be able to bond to other things. But water is essential because of pH. pH is potential hydrogen. You should have heard of this when you've talked about the pH scale in terms of ranging from 1 to 14. And so water helps form ions, and so that is very crucial for our acids and bases. So remember, an acid is anything from 1 to 6, and then a base is from 8 to 14. And then at 7, you have that neutral zone. And so on slides 12 and 13, it gives you some examples of those in terms of the pH scale, as well as on slide 14, where it mentions something about buffers, which help just stabilize certain solutions in your body. And okay, as we finish up this unit, this PowerPoint slide 15 is going to deal with blood, which is where a buffer is very important. Okay. And so as we finish this up, it's going to kind of refer to the ocean. So when we deal with the pH scale, it's very important. So check out those slides, those links on slide 18, and look at the carbon intake on 19 as well as 20. Okay.